Yeah, look, we had an interesting situation when I came here to Mebane. We had bought a business that had three different ownerships in 3 years. And so we had to do rebranding. This didn't start as a Buffalo Lanes here. And it was completely different than what we did. Large bar, more about the open bowling, less about the actual sport. So when we got here, we had 3 years that we had to come and erase, and it was tough. And the center did not do well initially. There were some really rough years, and that's when we would do all this guerrilla marketing, go to every school, every event, and they would look at us and say, you're the same thing with a different name. No, we're not. It's please come and just give us a chance. And so it was tough. And at that time, you have to be open to ideas. So we would have meetings. Majority of my staff over the years, very young. And I'm probably the least arrogant person when it comes to, I think I know everything. So sometimes we would just sit in the room and say, anyone have any good ideas? And it's amazing if you listen to your staff, even the young ones, a lot of these ideas over the years that worked, didn't come from me. It came from my 17-year-old front desk employee. So again, it was like, we've got this huge parking lot. Have you ever thought of doing like a 4th of July celebration in a parking lot? No, but that sounds like a great idea. Have we ever done a car show and then maybe involve some people downtown? We have a big parking lot. Sounds great. The party rooms sit empty during the week because you're not doing parties. What if somebody wanted to rent it out for a Bible study or a book reading club or things like that? Utilizing and again, at that point, it was more about just getting people in the door so that they could realize what we were offering was completely different than the previous business. Right. So it was really, our goal at that time was getting people in the door, not necessarily teaching them bowling but yeah, just being open to ideas. And then your customers will, hey, have you ever thought of this? Nope, but we should try it. Yeah. And the worst that happens is it doesn't work, and then you scratch it off and you move on. You'll never know unless you try. So I think a lot of proprietors, managers, they might be afraid. So it might be one of those things, we always did it this way, but always did it this way at some point it doesn't work. Right? Yeah. We made a change. Made so many changes that when you have an established center that's doing, maybe not thriving, but it's doing okay, you're a little bit more afraid to maybe make a change. Here, really, we were struggling those first couple of years. So it was like, we've got nothing to lose. So it was a little easier to pull the trigger on some of those things. So I understand somebody might be sitting in the center, they're making payroll, they're paying the bills, they're putting some money aside, and they're thinking, I don't know if I want to rock the boat. Right. Rock the boat, because really the worst that happens is you try something, it doesn't work, and you move on to something different. And there are no bad ideas.
Show that you're willing to try things. You're trying to make things better, not just the customers and employees.
Yeah, the staff sees that, your customers see that, and then they realize, wait a minute, they're here to stay. They're trying, they're working through things. But yeah, I think you really have to be open-minded. You have to constantly educate yourself. So we go to a lot of these trade shows. We go to Bowl Expo. We have a good regional trade show here, the BPAA of the Carolinas in Georgia. And I try to go as often as I can because there's always something that you could learn. Also, a lot of times you go to these events, there's so much information being slammed at you, you can't possibly take it all back. So sometimes it's nice going to a show and then saying, wait a minute, I remember learning about this 3 years ago. Why didn't I act on that?
Yeah.
So I think education is important. Keeping an open mind is important. Listening to your staff, because a lot of the time they're seeing things that you might not be seeing. You might be in the office more. Right. So they have some phenomenal ideas. Don't write them off because it's their first job and they haven't been in the bowling industry for 20, 40 years because they've got some really good ideas. You just got to be able to pull the trigger, follow through, implement, and then be able to measure and say, did it work? Did it not work? It didn't work this time. Let's move on, try something new. Or it might be the next big.
Yeah, there's only one way to find out.
So that's just always, and that's been my thing. That mindset I got from my mom and dad too, and just family members, and then people that have always been around me. It is just, don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to grow. Don't be afraid to try new things.
Hey, did you like this video? Great. We make 5 of them a week. Subscribe to get more and to keep learning about what's working in the bowling industry. I'll talk to you then.